Hello all. Thank you for being here with us. You're watching a new episode of Learn from the Greeks. It's a collaboration between the Consulate General of Greece in Los Angeles and the Consulate General of Greece in San Francisco. And it's about a YouTube platform, a YouTube channel featuring successful West Coast Greeks who share with us their insights and expertise. And today we have the honor to have a short discussion with Ms. Christina Bogdanou. She is the director of the Center for Modern Greek Studies in Loyola Marymount University. So thank you for being here with us, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me. I was born and raised in Greece, in Athens, and after completing my bachelor's degree at the University of Athens, I was awarded a scholarship by the State Scholarship Foundation for graduate work in the UK. I completed my master's degree in comparative critical theory, and while I was there, I was very fortunate to be introduced to the work of several academics who taught in the United States. So I moved to California to pursue my doctorate degree at UCLA. And after teaching at UCLA as a fellow for a few years, I joined the Caloyeras Center for Modern Greek Studies, and I became the director of the center about 5 years ago.
Great, thanks. How important is for you your Greek heritage and how it has contributed to your success?
I was born and raised in Greece. That cannot change no matter how long I'm away. I think being raised Greek informs your whole way of thinking and being. We're taught the importance of history, the importance of knowing yourself, the importance of striving for personal excellence, the responsibility for the common good, the importance of family. I think, fortunately, you cannot escape all this. My family, like most Greek families, were very keen on encouraging us to pursue our intellectual passions. So I think that has really informed my career choices as well.
What is your current interaction with Greece? And following up to that, I mean, do you think that a first generation Greek American in United States has a different perception of Greece than a Greek American who was born and raised here?
Well, I'm very fortunate to be able to go back and forth very often. During the summer, I teach in Greece with Loyola Marymount, with the Caloyeras Center. So we spent a couple of months there. It's a great way to stay connected with everything and everyone. And in that sense, I get to experience both, countries, both cultures for extended periods of time, on a regular basis. Now, about being a first generation Greek American, the difference is, I think there is a difference. Coming to the US as an adult, I think creates a barrier from being fully absorbed by a different culture. I have been in the United States for almost 30 years, but I still don't think myself as a first generation Greek American. I think of myself as a Greek who happens to live in Los Angeles. And I think the fact that I'm fortunate enough to go back and forth, it makes a big difference. I really feel like I'm living in two countries, not just one. Now, about those who have been born and raised here, second, third generation Greek Americans, I think it differs. I don't want to generalize, but I would say that usually there's a little more nostalgia for those who don't travel back often. Mm-hmm. Greece becomes a little romanticized. It's like looking at an old family photograph, even though you may not actually know the people in the photograph. Mm-hmm. They're familiar and you feel a connection to them. And I think this is great because you do not want the second generation, the third generation to lose this connection with Greece. Mm-hmm. And it is very easy. It is very easy with so many distractions, how busy everyone gets. And I can see that with my own daughters who were born and raised here. And even though they go back every year, still they seem to be more conflicted than someone like me who moved here when I was much older.
Especially in LA, where it's so multicultural environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, who was Basil Caloyeras and his family, who founded the Center for Modern Greek Studies in Loyola Marymount University?
Yeah. The center is named after Basil Caloyeras, who is the father of the founder of the center, the actual founder of the center, Peter Caloyeras. Peter Caloyeras was a very charismatic person. His family was from Spetses, actually. He had a deep love for Greece and everything Greek. He was an engineer, he was a businessman, and he had a great vision about the importance of keeping the Greek heritage alive for the younger generations of Greek Americans. And his vision was about not just ancient Greece, not just about the past, but also modern Greece. That's why they named the center for modern Greek studies. And this is important. This is an important distinction because there are many programs throughout the US, usually affiliated with classics departments. And they do offer language courses, history courses, whatever the interests of the academics involved are. But the Caloyeras Center was envisioned as a full academic program that aims at teaching the core of Greek culture: language, history, literature, the arts, and the Greek Orthodox religion, as separate from classical and Byzantine studies. Peter Caloyeras envisioned a center that would study modern Greece as well. And I think it is very rare to have such a clear focus on modern Greece within one institution. And I think this is how, this is how the center, this is how the Caloyeras Center was inspired to be a cultural focus for the community here in Southern California, and also for the students at Loyola Marymount University. It is exciting that as the center grows, we focus more on contemporary issues, more contemporary issues. We now collaborate with the International Relations Department, the Peace and Justice Center, with Environmental Studies, the Business School. We want to showcase Greece as a modern nation and society, that it is more than just a museum, which is a common perception. It is a very common perception. To give you an example, when we take students to Greece for the summer, they're very surprised to see Athens as a modern city. They expect to see the Acropolis, they expect to see Delphi, Olympia, but they have no idea that there's a modern country, there's a modern nation, there's a modern society. It is all very surprising to them. Huh?
Yeah, I understand. So, what is your opinion, taking into account student numbers, foreign and Greeks, and also the participants to the center's events, about Los Angeles' interest in modern Greek civilization and culture?
Okay. Well, American students are fascinated by ancient Greek culture and Greek mythology. It is what they know already. But they get very interested once they realize that Greece is an actual country today with contemporary problems, as I said before. They're initially surprised that but they're very responsive as they realize, again, the modern aspect of Greek culture. I mentioned before that we travel with a group of students every summer, and they usually, expect to visit the Acropolis and go to the, to Olympia. But in all honesty, after a while, they get a little tired of, antiquities, museums. They get really interested, however, when we do experience the modern aspect of Greek life. We take a graffiti tour in Athens, or we visit places like olive oil factories, organic farms. They are completely taken by surprise, as I said. It's like they absolutely love what they see. They love everything about Greek culture. Obviously, the hospitality they encounter there is something that they're very much impressed by. But they really, really enjoy everything that has to do with modern Greece. This is something that I cannot, stress enough. They love, ancient Greece. They love, Greek mythology. But because of their surprise, the element of surprise, they appreciate Greece even more, once they're there. And I cannot tell you how many students after the trip come back and they talk about the amazing experience they had. actually experiencing, modern Greece, not the museums. I would say the museums maybe is their least favorite part of the whole experience, but they really love, Greece, learning about Greece as it is today.
Mm-hmm. And how has COVID-19 affected classes and programming of LMU? Do you have any best practices to share? Also, do you observe more interaction with the audience from Greece?
Well, obviously it has been a real challenge because the campus has been closed since last March. Mm-hmm. However, we have seen some great new opportunities by going online. It was something that we did not do before. But now we have a much wider audience, both for our classes. We have students from all over the US and even places like the UK, Germany, even Greece. So they see that opportunity to join those virtual classes as something positive. And of course, I think that as much as we're anxious to get back to normal, I think that some things will stay online for many institutions because there are so many benefits. You have a much wider audience and people from all over the place that can access everything that an institution has to offer, whether it is a class or a lecture or a panel discussion. I think people have appreciated a little bit the accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second here. So my final question is going to be for 2021, the new year, where as Greeks we celebrate 200 years since the Greek Revolution in 1821. And I would like to ask you if the center is planning any related projects.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, we do. We were much more ambitious before COVID. We were planning a lot of live events, a lot of gatherings with the community, because the center always aims at bringing the community together, not only the academic community, but also the community at large. Unfortunately, some of those events will have to be on Zoom now. They have to be online, but we do have we have scheduled already a series of lectures, a little more academic in nature. Our keynote speaker will be Professor Roderick Beaton, who is the Emeritus Korais Professor of Modern Greek and Byzantine History at King's College in the UK. He's a fellow of the British Academy and a commander of the Order of Honor of the Hellenic Republic. So we're very honored to have Professor Beaton as the keynote speaker. And beyond that, we're hoping to celebrate individuals who have made their mark over those 200 years of history and coming of age of the Greek nation. So we will look at some historical figures, but we would like to emphasize some of the more contemporary Greeks, modern Greeks, and show the work. We have commissioned a play by a Greek-American playwright about the amazing Greek women over generations, right? And hopefully we will have a live audience for that. But these are the main plans. We will have a combination of academic events and more cultural events for the community. And hopefully some of them, we will be able to have them live very soon.
Very interesting program, though. It's a very interesting program already, despite everything happens with COVID. Mm-hmm. So thank you for being here with us today, and for giving us this opportunity to meet better you and the center's projects.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.